Yeah, pogostemon erectus has been taken off in the rocks. They grew nice long shoots. They had enough space in these pebbles. I guess some of these smaller pebbles might have been worse than these bigger ones, but yeah, they all my plants I plant in gravel die back a bit, shoot out a shit ton of roots, and then they just take off. And this one I was actually planning on flowering. That's why I needed advice from you guys. But it's gonna go right in front of my power head and probably beat the heck out of it. Don't want the power head to beat the heck out of it, and I do not want to uproot it because that's the only plant that has not shot root runners like these ones. In the middle, he shot two very, very low, and they're like super anchored. These two lines there, they're like straight down and probably went really far. So I don't want to uproot it. I'm thinking of just making the power head a different size of a tip, so it's more gentle and it just moves water around. But let's see where my fish are today. Oh, they're all on the other side. What a coincidence! They're never over here. The yellow guy, when he's there, they never fight. But this guy here is the big boss, the big bully. He even bullies the old boss, and he's almost making my big boss reclusive like this guy. It's like, man, you need to go to fish jail. I'm gonna get a breeder's box. I heard from Cichlids and Coffee, and he said get a fish jail, and hopefully my little guy I've been feeding, making sure he's starting to grow now finally, get a little bigger so he can defend himself. Here's all my 4 propagations and 1 new plant, a pogostemon that shot up from a runner. At the top I cut off. There's the bottom I cut it from because it looked ugly. The reason why I cut this top off because it looked really ugly, because all these plants I have were all bunched in one bunch, so the leaves weren't very thick. They were all like very wispy once I spread them out, but now they're starting to grow in fully, like as you can see here. And as it gets closer to my light only reaches about like this plant here. If anything's lower than that plant, like, it'll grow, but it's very slow. I do blow oxygen, and this air we breathe with CO2, regular CO2, regular oxygen, in the tank, like pretty much like air stone, just to help get more carbon dioxide and oxygen, like pretty much like in my room, pretty much like this vacuum or canister filter is doing, but like way better. I think that's part of the reason why they're growing so good, because I don't have CO2. The only thing I did add is tiny little bit of this, like 1 milliliter. Some bacterial strains. I'm not promoting Nutrifin, that's just what I use because that's the test kit I have. Nutrifin chloramine remover, and it has some fish scale repairs, nutrition capsules. I needed to put 1 under every. See, this one I put 1 root tab right under it. Grew. These 2 I put 1 in between both of them in the middle, and they grew second best, but obviously it's better to put 1 root tab under each pogostemon. This corner one I put 1 root tab under it afterwards, but I cut it a little too low. I should have left a little more branch on it, but live and learn. But yeah, lots of nice purples, reds, yellows. My pleco's taking care of the algae. This guy's taking care of diatoms. I almost need 1 more pleco. You can't keep up with my leaves. I actually had to toothbrush some of these ones. They're getting real bad, inhibiting growth for sure. I would never do that if I had more plecos, but I'm gonna probably get 1 more. for this tank. They can definitely eat with all the rock algae. And that's why my substrate's so clean. He just eats all the algae off the rocks. And I do pipette. So some of the rotting stuff that doesn't have the, because this yellow fish, he eats the white fuzz around the degrading. I have like a salmon. This is what I feed them. You like it better? Some girl recommended me these. Do not buy these. They drop like a rock. It says they float. They do not. They drop like a rock, and 2 days later they start floating. Make a huge mess of your aquarium. Do not buy these. Unless you have like guppies or something, because it goes literally microscopic. You can crush it and it makes the water all brown and nasty, and small tiny fish can eat it. But all of my fish got one mouthful and spat it right out, so I'm probably just gonna use it in the garden for my weed plants or something. My weed seeds are growing now. I'll have some weed seed or some weed gardening coming up soon. But yeah, I figured that other tank I was gonna get was a little too small, so I think I'll find a bigger one. I'm looking right at the moment. I'm thinking 50 gallon. Some nice caves and a lot of hiding spots. Like a few more fish. So hopefully I'll get along. Like nice schooling fish, not these big bullies. So a couple more of these nice yellow ones were there. Where do you go? These guys, I'm gonna get 2 more at least, because they're very peaceful. Very peaceful. You can go up to any fish and they won't snap at them. Even the big boss. He's best friends with Big Boss.